I'm evaluating. I'm
Dr. Bell, how would you like to
evaluating
be
Karen,
general
but
evaluator as well?
I volunteer to be.
Okay. And then you're also
I'm
the first
sorry, your voice. What was
evaluator.
that?
So we got you as general evaluator and evaluator one. Felice, your evaluator number two. Dottie number three. And Anthony, you're speaking.
I can evaluate Anthony.
Yeah,
Okay,
I volunteered to speak just to fill a role.
that's fine. Okay, Karen, you're
Mhm.
going to evaluate him. Tabletop evaluator, I can do that. Do we have anyone for that or not? I'll do it.
Oh, no, we don't. Okay.
Okay, and then counter grammarian is Anthony, timers report is Anthony. So,
Yeah.
and then the general evaluation will be done by Bill Liverman.
It's not a huge deal. If you need somebody, I thought I was uncounter, so I didn't volunteer for the other things.
Oh,
If you need to fill a role, I'll do it. I'm glad Anthony's uncounter though, because I do that too much. And I'm not a grammarian. I can't
okay,
evaluate.
that's fine. But we got to fill, I'm just saving it right now. My computer is slow here.
Thank you, Bill. I want to let you know that I did hear from Jelena and Brittany that they would not be able to attend today. And I haven't heard from Kim, so I think I'll ping her and just make sure that she didn't forget.
Okay.
Let's see. I'll say
Okay. Karen, do you need me to share my screen for you to see the whole listing, or are you good with what we've got?
I'm good. I already printed it off and made my
Okay,
notes.
very good. You're way ahead of me.
Okay, great. Thank you. So for business announcements for the club, we do have the exciting conference coming up, and I'm looking forward to attending that. The conference, there'll be the district level contests for international speech contest, and I believe it's evaluation contests this year. So I'm looking forward to that. I want to let everyone know that we have enough members who have paid their dues to be a club in good standing, so I'm happy about that. If anybody still needs to pay their dues, you can do that online. And I did follow up with one or two people who didn't pay their dues yet. So let's see if they'll, come around, or if they've maybe decided that they're ready to part ways. I'm not sure which. So so we'll look for that. I can't think of any other general announcements. Are there any other members who have general announcements to make at this time?
Yes, this is Bill Moylan, your VP of Education. After today's meeting, I'm also then going to post the speakers for our scheme, and I'll be sending this out to everyone for May and June in the free toast host. And then you would go in and confirm your speaking thing, or you can change, adding it from that. Also about the dues, yes, we are at 10, so we're in good standing, but we need two more members either to join or to renew to put us at 12. That's our magic number to be select distinguished. So we got the points, but we don't have the membership where it needs to be.
Mm.
So that'll be on your conscience that if you haven't renewed.
Okay.
Is that enough? Do I have to be more forceful, Karen, or what?
No, that's good. And
Okay.
don't forget, also invite people to come to the meetings.
Yes.
So invite your friends from work, your associates, invite them to come to a meeting. A lot of times it just takes that invitation, and when people see what we do here, they're impressed, they want to be part of it. All right, let's carry on with today's meeting. We're going to open our first speaking role is going to be Dottie Hamilton, who will be presenting to us the word of the day. Dottie,
Yeah, she need unmute. You can't.
No, 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 no. We can't hear you,
Can't hear.
Dottie.
She's frozen.
I bet you she's working off of her phone and not seeing us.
Right. Yeah, that's us. I don't think she see.
Yeah. Dottie, can you hear us? Because we couldn't hear you. You were on mute. I will come back to Dottie. Let's go into our first speech, which in this case, I will be introducing myself. Let me read my speech off of the, let me read what I had thought the Toastmaster would read. Today, I'm going to be presenting a speech about mentoring. So I've been a mentor for many new members over the past several years, but today I'll be reflecting on my mentoring with one particular protege to be named. This is a 4 to 7 minute speech, and it's part of the Pathways Mentoring Project. It's entitled Help Wanted, the Protege's Job Requirements. If you've had to look for a job in recent years, then you'll be familiar with the ideal skill sets that are often listed online for the available positions. Now, how would this look if I was posting for a Toastmasters mentor? Well, I think it would look something like this. Help wanted, public speaking mentor, required skills, must be honest but kind. Direct, not too harsh, must be a good listener and able to determine a unique set of goals from an individual protege's needs. Must be motivational and able to bring out the best in the protege without being pushy. You'll have flexible hours. And by the way, this is an unpaid volunteer position. So Toastmasters has this mentoring course, and it has a short-term and an advanced mentoring. Today, I'm going to talk about one of the many short-term mentoring opportunities that I've had. And this particular experience was with our very own Dottie Hamilton. To begin, Dottie and I had to get to know each other. So we had some one-on-one conversations. I wanted to know what were Dottie's hopes and goals in joining Toastmasters? And I wanted to get a feel for her current level of skills and experience with public speaking, and to find what she found to be most challenging. So it's important for the mentor to listen and get to know the protege, because every person comes with their own set of skills, motivations, and personality, not to mention their own set of hurdles. Well, I learned very quickly with Dottie that she had many years of public speaking experience because of teaching. But she was stepping out into a different area with an online radio show. So this was a whole new world, and she was open to learning how she could hone her skills for that particular situation. Well, I have to say, this really piqued my interest because I had taken broadcasting classes when I was in school. I worked at a college radio station. I had just come off completing my own video blog project. Plus, I'd been a Toastmaster for 13 years at that time, so I felt confident we could work well together. Dottie was very organized and well-spoken, and she was very open to getting feedback. Sometimes you have to be careful on the personality of the mentee. Some people you have to tread lightly, and other people say, give it to me straight. Dottie was the one who told me, give it to me straight. I want to know. She was well-spoken and organized, but she did have challenges with her vocal variety. She needed to work on her pacing and the placement of pauses and her delivery when she was reading. because she would be doing Bible readings during her radio broadcast. So she presented her materials to me, and I listened very intently, focusing on the things that she wanted to accomplish, because that's the point of the mentoring relationship. It's not what I want to bring out in Dottie, it's what her goals and her needs are. So we worked together to come up with strategies and practices to improve her delivery. Dottie, I discovered, enjoys singing. So we talked about how she could apply that same breath, timing, and tone control in speaking as she did in singing. And I observed and mentioned that when she was speaking quickly, she had more of those unwanted, abrupt pauses than she wanted. So we talked about it, what she could do, and she chose to modulate her pace by not rushing. She could keep the flow of words coming without the pauses. And those pauses happen because your mind gets ahead of your mouth. They lose sync. So my takeaway from the mentoring experience is that it's the protege who sets the requirements and the goals. The protege basically sets those job requirements. So it's important to develop that you develop strategies with the protege's ideas and their buy-in. Because when somebody comes up with their own solution, it's much more likely to lead to success. Well, now I'm ready to look for a new position as the advanced mentor. Now, Toastmasters defines this as a minimum 6-month commitment with a more formalized structure, including regular meetings, written goals, progress check-ins, etc. So if you're about ready to place that ad for an advanced mentor, let me know, because I'm ready to start that job. And now we'll have 1 minute of silence for the evaluator to collect his thoughts. Dottie, I want to ask you if you can come off of mute and do the word of the day for us. Are you able to come off mute?
Yes. What
Okay.
happened was the computer froze and nothing happened. I couldn't come work any commands, but I thank you for coming back to me. Good evening, fellow Toastmasters. The word of the day is venerate. It is a verb. It means to regard with great respect, to honor, revere. In my church setting, we always are admonished to venerate those that we have come behind and upon whose shoulders we stand. I'm placing it in the chat. Venerate.
Thank you, Dottie. Thank you, Dottie.
You're welcome.
So we venerate the agenda of this meeting. We venerate each role, and that's why we circled back to make sure that Dottie got her chance to do the word of the day. And now we'll move on to our second speaker of the day, Kimberly Baird Cooley. Kimberly, I don't believe I have an introduction from you, so please, at the beginning of your speech, explain the purpose of this particular speech project and the timing. Thank you, Kimberly.
Pardon me 1 moment while I share my screen. The title of my project is Learning Klingon, and this is part of the Engaging Humor Pathway. It's a project about using visual aids. I'm supposed to use 1 to 3 visual aids. Tol, nuknech. Klingons don't say hello. They say, so, what do you want? And I wanted to learn how to say that too. I love Star Trek. I'm a total Trekkie. I'm trying to watch every single piece of Star Trek media that has ever existed. And to supplement my Star Trek knowledge, I decided I am going to learn Klingon. It's 5 to 7 minutes, by the way. You might ask, why? Why would you decide to learn Klingon? There's a lot of other languages out there that can be spoken with another person and could actually provide some usefulness in your day-to-day interactions with other human beings. And to that I say, Chobe, no. I want to learn Klingon, number 1, for fun. How many times have you wished that you knew a different language that you could make a little comment about that nobody else would know what you were saying? Well, with Klingon, you're guaranteed that no one else is going to know because we live on Earth and not Kronos, the home planet of the Klingons. Reason number 2 that I would like to learn Klingon, and I am learning Klingon, because the Klingon culture is very different to that of the human culture. And it's very different to that of my own personality. When Kimberly might say, oh, how does that make you feel? Are you sad? Klingon Kimberly says, no, yup, stop, enough. I can have an alter ego and explore the more direct part of my personality because Klingons are a very direct culture. They're warriors, and they don't have time for witless prattle about feelings and this and that. They got to get it done. And lastly, because I want to expand my brain, the Klingon language has a totally different sentence and grammar structure than English. So it really is a great mental exercise to try and learn this language. Now, you might be wondering, how in the world are you learning Klingon, a made-up language from a TV show? That's a great question. Some of you might know this face. Some of you may have been chided by this face. It is Duolingo. The Duolingo owl is teaching me Klingon. Believe it or not, you can learn Klingon on Duolingo. The way that you learn Klingon on Duolingo is through listening exercises, reading exercises, and writing exercises. One of the first words that they taught me on Duolingo for Klingon was robot. You know, it took me 36 days to learn the words yes and no, but day 1, robot was right up there. One of the first ones they taught me, robot. So is it the best program with the most applicable language for your day-to-day? Probably not. But is it one of the only ones that is currently available to learn this made-up language from a TV show? Yes, it is. Now you might be wondering, how has this worked for you so far? Have you learned any Klingon? I have. One of my goals in taking Klingon on Duolingo was to be able to understand Klingon while I'm watching Star Trek. These opportunities are few and far between, Because if you're a Star Trek fan, you know that they have the universal translator. So when someone's speaking in a foreign language on Star Trek, it just sounds like English. But every once in a while, one of those episodes, they'll have someone speaking in their native tongue and you get to hear it. And on one of those episodes, very recently, just about a month ago, I understood the Klingon. I understood it and I was so happy. Now, it was only a 2-word sentence. 2 words. Mev yap. Stop. Enough. But then I understood a second sentence and I was so excited. I couldn't believe it. I was learning so well. The little owl was doing his little hoot hoot job teaching me Klingon because I understood Maj Ram. Good night. I have not yet progressed beyond 2-word sentences, but I know that I will get there. Because, much like the way of the Klingon warrior, I am determined. I have honor. I am going to get into Duolingo Stobocore, which is their version of Valhalla or heaven for warriors. Because I will not let this Duolingo streak die. I am determined. So how's it worked? Geslacht. Yes, it has. And in honor of my first sentence that I learned, here is the episode photo of Worf and his friend finding the holy bat'leth of the Klingon revered warrior Kalis. They did have to put it back because it did make them a little bit crazy. But someday, I hope to be worthy of a bat'leth of my own. And maybe someday soon, I'll understand a 3-word sentence. Thank you.
Kimberly. We'll now have a 60-second pause for the evaluator to collect their thoughts. Our next, well, let me go back to my agenda and see if I have an introduction here. No, I don't see one on the agenda. All right, our next speaker will be one of our newer members, Toastmaster Sheila Boswell. Sheila, as you begin, please give us your title and which project and the timing of your speech.
I'm doing vocal variety. I don't remember the track I'm on, but
Okay.
it's 5 to 7 minutes.
Okay, and title?
The title of my speech is More Than My Diagnosis. Okay, good evening, fellow Toastmasters. If you had asked me a few years ago who I was, I would have told you I'm a runner, a yogi, and a triathlete, and an engineer. My answer would have been simple. But those weren't just things I did. They were how I identified myself and how I thought the world identified me. They were how I defined myself. But life has a funny way of redefining us whether we're ready or not. A few years ago, I was diagnosed with hereditary spastic paraparesis. Or paraplegia. It's a rare neurodegenerative disease. It's a progressive disease. Right now, I wobble when I walk and I limp, but the prognosis is I'll end up in a wheelchair. At first, I did what many people would do, I think, in this situation. They tried to cling on to their old identity. But as I progressed, as I stumbled, as I wobbled and people thought I was drunk, I got that a lot, actually. I questioned myself. I said, well, if you are not all those things, who are you? And that's a dangerous trap. I've seen people who become their disease, who wear it like a name tag, who introduce themselves by their diagnosis. They let it overshadow every other aspect of who they used to be or who they think they used to be. But it's not just health. I've seen people lose a job and it leads to an identity crisis because they have identified themselves with what they did for professionally for so long. I've seen athletes who get injured and they tie themselves so tightly to the sport that they used to be a part of that when they lose that one thing, it crumbles them. I've seen parents whose kids move out of the house and move on, and they fumble around because they don't know what they do now because they spent so long as a caregiver. In the military, I saw this a lot. I myself never saw the military as more than a stepping stone. I always had an external North Star. But people often identify themselves, these lifers, with their military service, be it a soldier, a Marine, or an airman, or a seaman, whatever the Coast Guard and Navy call themselves. These people, when they separate for various reasons, they struggle because they don't know where they fit in the world and how they can contribute in a meaningful way. When we identify too much with just one thing, we set ourselves up for devastation if that one thing is ever taken away. It's not losing just one thing, it's losing who we think we are. And that can be a lot more painful than the event. I got a new perspective. Here's what I realized. I am a person with hereditary spastic paraplegia, just like I am a person with blue eyes. It is who I am. It's a part of who I am, but it's not all of me. I am still an engineer. I'm a business owner, a dog lover, a sister, a friend. I am someone who enjoys a good mystery novel, who loves learning new things, who finds joy in problem solving. I am many things, and one challenge does not erase the rest. My takeaway, I stand here not as a victim of my diagnosis, but as a person who refuses to be defined by my diagnosis. I've learned that when we tie our identity too tightly to be it a career, a sport, or even our health, it can be dangerous. Losing that one thing can shatter us. But if we embrace our entire selves, if we remember that we are many things, then no single challenge can take away who we truly are. I am Sheila Bussell. I have HSP, and I am so much more. Thank you.
Thank you, Sheila.
Yes. Wonderful. Wonderful.
60 seconds of silence, please. All right. Our fourth speaker today. So glad, isn't that great? We have 4 speakers today. Very happy about that. Our fourth speaker today will be another newer member, Anthony Gore. Anthony recently performed a speech at a DAPSEP or DECA, I can't remember which one, DAPSEC event a couple of Saturdays ago, where he was evaluated and received feedback. So today he's going to give us that speech again, applying the feedback that he received so that he can learn how to receive and apply feedback. So I'm not sure the title of your speech. Anthony, please give the title and timing of your speech, and we will, please come off mute. We'll hear from you now.
The name of the speech is Senior Seminar. It's a program. I'm sorry, my 3-year-old son is in the background. It's called Senior Seminar, and I am the program lead for this particular program within my job. So I'm gonna give the information that I gave when I delivered it a few weekends ago. So here it is. Good morning, GAW. My name is Anthony Gore, and I am the program lead for Senior Seminar. What is Senior Seminar? Senior Seminar is a 1-year cohort for current 11th grade students going into their senior year. So what does that consist of? So either your plan is to go into a 4-year university, a 2-year college, trade school, the armed forces, or straight into the workforce. We have something in store for you. So the 3-semester cohort is as follows. For the summer of 2025, we are going on the state or in-state and out-of-state STEM college tour. This college tour for the out-of-state, we will be visiting the East Coast region. The in-state college tour will follow along with SAT prep to follow. The fall of 2025, we will focus on the college readiness process. So what that entail, we will focus on the college application process, letters of recommendation, either you need help with scholarships, transcripts, etc. We are there to help. In the spring of 2025, we are going to the BEA Conference in Baltimore, Maryland. So the BEA Conference is the Black Engineer of the Year Award, and students will participate in workshops and a career fair. So students, I implore you to come out and see what we have to offer. Thank you.
Thank you, Anthony. Since I'm the evaluator, I don't need to take my 60 seconds. I've already collected my thoughts. And so I will ask to come to the fore our table topics master, Bill Moylan. Bill, take us away.
It wouldn't let me unmute.
Oh.
I'll try it again now. I'm unmuted. Is this better?
We can hear it. I can see you on the grid and see you in the shared screen portion.
Excellent. Okay, so this is for table topics today. We're going to be using this construct called Truman's Triangle. It's on quality, time, and cost. Now, when you think about this, think of quality. Okay, we're looking for something which is good, and time which is fast, and cost which is cheap. But what if we took it to extremes? We want something which is perfect, along with being done yesterday for free. So, Dottie, do you venerate quality? Are you a perfectionist, or can things just be good enough? Dottie.
Thank you, Table Topics Master Moreland. I love to think about thinking. I love to think about how I am. And I can answer that I am a perfectionist, and it has done me in. Because of not understanding that no one is really perfect, that we can all do what we can do it well, and take the emotions out of it so that we're not always beating ourselves up. I have found that about 15 years ago, and I'm always proud to say I'm 76. So it wasn't that long ago that I understood I cannot be a perfectionist because it will kill me. And I wanted to live a long life, have a good quality of life, and be able to help others. So as I am understanding myself, I say, there's a phrase that I've heard: make your good better and your better best. That's what I live by now, and not try to be a perfectionist. Thank you.
Thank you. Bill Liverman, do you venerate cost? Are you okay with paying full price, or are you always looking for the sales to get it at the lowest possible price? Dr. Bill.
Thank you. Table Topic Master, Dr. Bill Moreland. Yes, if you're looking at the whole thing from the highest price to the lowest price, and objective is what your per goal is. And I, from my experience, high price, absolutely not. Low price, I love 2 minutes from my house. I love Dollar Tree. Love it. $1.25. And some people still complaining about that. And they haven't raised the price in, I don't know, 50 years. It depends upon the purchase. However, I guess in my mental DNA, I would like to be somewhere in the middle based on the purchase. Anything that costs $10,000 or $5,000, I have lower end. But what is the out purchase involved? My decision based upon the outcome in terms of the value of that purchase. Thank you, fellow Toastmasters.
Then let's look at Sheila. Do you venerate your time? Do you prefer to get there early at the gate, or arrive at the gate just as the door is closing to your flight? Sheila.
Thank you, Bill. My definition of the value of my time has changed over the years, but this is one thing I agreed with in the military. It's not about your time. It's about if people are waiting on you, you respect their time. I remember in basic training, I had to do a push-up for every minute I was late for everybody in the formation. I bring that mentality today. I am never late, but I don't like to needlessly sit around for half hour. I like to do 10 minutes. So I'm not the last person who enters a flight, but I'm not sitting around waiting either. Thank you.
Karen, if you were to compare quality to cost, would you be willing to pay more money for better quality, or are you always looking for a deal?
Table Topics Master, you ask a difficult question because it always depends on the purpose and use of the item. When I'm looking for something that I know I'm going to keep for a long time and use for a long time, I will definitely look for quality, and I'm willing to spend more to have a good quality item that I know is going to last me. But there's the flip side of that too. Sometimes I just need something right now, or I just want something quick and dirty that will just please the eye and please me for the moment. I might go to the dollar store. I might even go to the Salvation Army. Doesn't matter. If I don't see a long-term value in it, then it only has to be good enough. And if it's only good enough, then it should also be cheap enough. Table Topics Master.
And Anthony, do you venerate or value quality over time? Are you willing to wait for it to be better, or do you want things done immediate and accept the consequences? You're muted.
Muted.
Fellow Toastmaster, that's a great question. That answer varies over time. The past version of myself, I wanted it right then, quick, fast, in a hurry, like a microwave. However, after experience, after becoming a father, after becoming a professional, you realize you have to value time more. Another scenario would be in my day-to-day career now. Things have to be done as far as time management, program management. Everything has a schedule, so you value time more. Thank you.
And Felice, how do you value time versus cost? Will you want things done quickly or cheaply?
Thank you, Toastmaster Bill. That's an interesting question. Value time over cost. I think most of the time for right now, I am thinking about time more over cost. I still it is I have to think about what do I have. Like if I have time, I have enough time, I can make things with very little or free, no cost at all. But most of the time right now in my life, I don't have that much time. That's it. So I have to spend some money and I go to restaurant or buy some takeout dinner for the family because we don't have time to cook sometimes, some days.
I'm working.
That is the norm of life. But I think eventually the final goal of my life is that I can take things slower and do a lot more by myself. So maybe spend a little more time. Eventually is going to be more enjoyable for life, I suppose. Thank you for the question.
And Kimberly, what do you venerate the highest, quality, time, or cost?
Quality, time, or cost? This is tricky. When I was younger, I would have said cost because I hardly had any money. When you only have a couple of dollars in your bank account and you're making minimum wage and you're going to school full time and you're going to work full time, things have to be cheap because you hardly have any money. But I've been very fortunate. I'm in a better situation now. I have more money, but I have less time. And one thing that's really important to me is reducing waste. So I am willing to go for something that's a higher quality if it means that it's going to last longer, even if it costs more or takes more time, if it means that it produces less trash. But I'm also willing to go for something that's cheaper, like at the thrift store, even if it's not as good, if that gives me an option to make less trash. Because there's too much floating around in landfills. There's just too much junk in the world. So whatever is going to help me make the least amount of trash, that's what I'm going to go for.
Very good. And is it Reed, a guest?
Reed
Yes.
has, go
Yep.
ahead, Reed.
Yes. It's
Would you
John.
like to participate? It's up to you.
Well, I would like to listen in a little bit more before I
Okay,
participate.
that's fine.
Yes, thank you.
Okay, back to you, Madam Toastmaster Karen.
Thank you. For the sake of our guest, I just want to explain that when we have our Toastmasters meeting, we always have 3 portions of our meeting. We have prepared speeches, which have already been presented. We have impromptu speaking, which you just saw. And then we go into the evaluation portion of the meeting, where we evaluate the speakers and the meeting itself. So with that, I will ask our general evaluator, Bill Liverman, to come forward and introduce the evaluation team and proceed with the evaluations.
Good evening again, fellow Toastmasters. Great meeting so far. And in terms of the evaluations, basically, I was asked to evaluate Karen, good friend Karen Baird, on her speech, specifying her as mentoring, the mentoring pathway regarding Karen's experience in terms of working with Dottie. And I enjoyed that, Karen, and I just wrote down a few things that I was very impressed with. Number 1, Karen, you were very specific. You mentioned the pathway, you mentioned the mentoring with Dottie. I love the way you open your speech in terms of arousing that curiosity. You started by saying, help wanted. I mean, what? Help wanted regarding what? Then you made you challenged with a question. How would this look? And Karen, I love you pause. You just didn't go, you didn't do it, use a run-on sentence. You made a statement and you paused to let this to kind of you integrated this in the audience thinking process. You mentioned characteristics. You have a good listener. I love that. Must be motivational. But then you surrounded this an unpaid volunteer. an unpaid volunteer. And you mentioned your experience in working with Dottie. You were very specific. For example, you mentioned that you learned very quietly in terms of working with Dottie. You mentioned the fact that you mentioned 13 years in Toastmasters, great hand movements, Karen, great hand movements. And I love the way you stated this. It's not what I wanted, it's what Dottie wanted. And the thought that came to my mind was he passed away a few years ago, but Zig Ziglar, some of you, I'm sure most of you have heard of Zig Ziglar, he made a statement that that's part of my DNA. Basically, he said, you can get everything in life you want if you help enough people get what they want. Mm-hmm. And so, Karen, when you made that statement, I was just so impressed. Then found as I close, then you close with a challenge. I love the way you close. You made the statement, are you ready? You didn't close with a statement, but you challenged the audience in terms of mentoring Dottie. Are you ready to go to the next level? I just thought that was an emotional impact in terms of you challenging the audience. So finally, I would just, if I could summarize your whole evaluation of Dottie, I would just, one little recommendation, in some of those emotion statements, try a little more pause, maybe 2 or 3 seconds, a little more, just pause to give that statement time to engrave the audience a thinking process. But other than that, from A to Z, I just love every aspect of your evaluation, Karen. Thank you very much, fellow Toastmasters.
Thank you. I'm just going to make a note here to use more pauses. Okay. Let's move on to our next evaluation. Our next evaluator is Felice Wang. Felice, will you please give us your evaluation of Kimberly Baird Cooley's speech?
Yeah, thank you all. Thank you, Toastmaster Karen Baird. I have my evaluation for the second speech by Kimberly Baird. You're giving a very interesting speech about learning Klingon. I have to say very regretfully that I have not experienced anything about Star Trek. I never watched it. I wish I understand more about the background concept. I know that I understand this is what the language that they are speaking in the show from a species, right? So then I really understand the speech that you give us. So I think the way that you structure the topic and the way you present, it's a very clear way, even for someone that have very little to none knowledge about the topic, I can fully understand it. First of all, I really like your beginning, the opening. It's very catchy. You started with a Klingon word. And then all the transitions between sections are very nice. So you started talking about you're gonna talk about learning Klingon, and I immediately think, okay, why? And then you told us why. And then once I understand why, I'm starting to asking, so how can you learn something that's imaginary? And you immediately show us how. And so all the transitions were very, very smooth. That was a good point. And another good point I noticed was the funny visual. So I think the very first picture that you showed was the pointy. I think that's some symbol from the Star Trek show. And yeah, that's a very it's a very catchy visual, I would say. When I see it, like it with the pointy ends, I think that's how it makes it really. When I see it, I'm like looking at it immediately. So that's the good part. And then I also remember the last one you showed was 2 figures from the show. They're looking like they're talking to each other. That's also very funny. One point that I think if you want to challenge yourself, I think if you can adding a little more, maybe just one engaging point of humor in your speech, like even some inside joke. If you did and I didn't get it, I'm sorry, that's on me. But even if it's inside joke from Star Trek or something, if you can add something in your speech, and that would be even better. I think the topic here was engaging humor, so that's also expected, I think. That would be my evaluation. Thank you.
Thank you, Felice. Appreciate your evaluation. It's now my turn to evaluate Anthony Gore. So I did write a few notes. Anthony, you re-gave a speech that you had given earlier and applied the feedback that you received. So I don't know what the feedback you received, so I'm just going to talk about what I saw today. I really liked the way you organized the speech. I liked the fact that you, because of the nature of the speech, introducing yourself to a crowd, you gave us not just your name, but your credentials. You gave us a reason to listen to you, because you always have to think of, for the audience, what's in it for them? Why should they listen to you? So you gave us the credentials, and you had something to offer to them. I saw a lot of enthusiasm and good animation and good pacing in your speech. And I want to point this out because I think that you have improved on this over the course of being a member here. Some things that you might want to do for improvement, some tips might be to look at your filler words, try to be a little more attentive to your filler words and more attentive to your pauses. So you want to pause, always pause on purpose, never by accident, and always add them on purpose at specific points. Let's see, did I mention that you had a great takeaway? I'm not sure if I mentioned that. You had a great takeaway at the end of your speech. You wrapped it up with, please, I implore you, get involved in this program. It's for your own benefit. So I thought that was a good way to wrap it up. I'm sure that those kids or the people participating heard a lot of programs that day, but you made sure that yours, you put the emphasis on yours. Good job. All right. So now we're going to go into our table topics evaluation. And
Madam General
Yes?
Evaluator, did you want Dottie to evaluate?
oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. My eyeballs skipped right past it. I'm sorry about that. Dottie and Sheila, I apologize for that misstep. Dottie, please present your evaluation of Sheila's speech.
Thank you. I venerate you,
Thank you.
Karen Beard, and I just want you to know, apology accepted with a smile.
Thank you.
All right, so now here we are with Sheila. More than my diagnosis. Vocal variety was there. You exposed your emotions. And that is one of the things that I was mentored to do. So I sat here and I knew exactly what you were doing. You were parting that curtain and letting us see, and you were very vulnerable doing it. I loved your list of accomplishments to offset what you told us was going to be happening to you right now and in the future. That shedded so much light and made us uplifted in your speech. You were able to use your voice to help us. Your face was showing us. I have just one or two things you might want to work on. When you first started, you were very animated, a little too much with the hands. You did calm down halfway through your speech, and your hands were more emphasizing at certain times, but not moving all the time. You might want to breathe, practice those breathing techniques that they always tell us to get the butterflies out before. When I look at different people and they're giving speeches, I see some of them, they look down, breathe, gather themselves, and then they look up and they are ready. So I just want to have that you would make sure you understand. You don't want to be so nervous that it comes across to us. You want to use your eyes expressively, yes, but because I know about left brain, and right brain persons they use their eyes as they're thinking, their eyes go upward as they're talking because they are gathering their thoughts that way. That's just the personality that you have. So be aware so that you can keep your eyes focused as if you're looking directly at your audience. I know I do that too. And I'm just letting you know that I understand and why you do it. So as you do more speeches, you will understand. Keep your eyes focused on the audience. And thank you so much for such an emotional, impactful, uplifting speech. Thank you.
Thank you, Dottie. All right, now we are going to go ahead and do our table topics evaluation. This is a unique feature of our club. We thought that the more evaluations we get, the better we become. So our distinguished Toastmaster Bill Moylan is going to give his evaluation of our table topics responses.
Thank you, Karen. First of all, I do have to commend the topic master. It was an interesting topic, rather esoteric, but with the graphic, it kind of brought people into it and gave them something to think about, which is important for topics. The downside, you didn't unmute yourself because then when you went to that niche graphic, those controls went away. We're all learning here, aren't we? Always learning something on that. So a tip, you want to make sure you're unmuted first before you bring up a graphic, particularly what I learned from Karen, how to inset yourself in front of it on that. Now to the actual respondents. Dottie, I appreciated how you took the question on being a perfectionist or going things okay. Immediately you chose a side. And then you gave us how you react to that, how you do it and come to it, and then how you gave us a good concluding remark of, yes, I'm a perfectionist and kind of proud of it. I thought that was an interesting way to end on that. Bill Liverman, Dr. Bill, your audio was kind of going out in the beginning, so I didn't quite catch, but it did come through then. But it was where yours, it was kind of, again, a kind of a blend of the others. So I wasn't sure what your initial peak was, but you finished clearly. One tip I would do, can you position your camera better so we can see your entire face? You're kind of cut off there a bit. There you go. Or can you kind of change the camera angle so we can see more of you?
Yeah. Right. Okay.
On Sheila, I really appreciated how you gave us a very heartfelt example of the military, doing a push-up for every minute you keep the company waiting. Wow, that was a good one.
Yes.
Of how that ingrained in you and how you could then, how you're so time conscious. People can say that, but you got a real reason. And I think that really personalized your topic response more than someone said, oh, yes, I just watched the clock a lot. That was a good technique. For Karen, I liked how you, when you were kind of comparing cost, do you pay more or going it, but how you kind of compared and contrast. And it was kind of a depends. And that then led into our next speaker, Anthony and Felice. It was each time, well, it depends on how it kind of comes back and forth. But each of you, again, had that personalized example why you think that way. And I think that was an interesting way of making the topic answer your own. And then finally for Kimberly, boy, you really got me on that last one of how you chose whatever makes the least amount of trash. Boy, that's really impactful. So instead of picking one of the three, you said, this is what my value is. We have to be more conscious about being good world citizens and don't pollute so much. And so whatever the answer will be, I'll check whatever it is, as long as I'm doing less trash. So overall, I appreciated everyone's way where they were able to pick, a side, so to speak, or compare and contrast. You personalized your examples and you all gave solid conclusions. Madam Toastmaster General Evaluator Karen.
Good job. Yes.
There we go. Now we'll go into our evaluation of the meeting itself. We will first talk to our counter grammarian. Actually, today we have the same person filling both roles, counter grammarian and the timer. So I'll ask Anthony to give his counter grammarian report, followed by his timer report.
Okay, so for speech number one, Karen, I didn't have any ahs for you. You did an excellent job as in pausing. It felt like times you wanted to say but you simply put a pause there. So it's power in the pause. Your time for your speech was 5 minutes and 29 seconds. So good job. You did make your time. Kim, for your speech, I didn't catch any ahs. So you and your mom are in sync with pausing. So you did a great job at pausing, no ahs. And I have your time at 6 minutes and 35 seconds. Sheila, vocal variety, I only counted one. It wasn't an but it was a I caught one of those, and your time was 4 minutes and 40 seconds. So great job. My speech, I clocked it at 2:36, and I'm sure I had a few uhs and ums there. Speech number. Oh, so do I continue on for table topics as well?
Yes.
Okay. Sir Dottie, with your table topics, you were the first speaker. I didn't count any ahs, and your time was 1 minute and 25 seconds. So good job. Bill, you were the second speaker. Your sound was going out initially, but I didn't catch any ums, and your time was 1 minute and 11 seconds. Sheila, you was speech number three, table topics number three. I counted one and your time was 41 seconds. Karen, no ahs again, and your time was 54 seconds for your table topics. My speech, I was table topics number one number six, and my time was 1 minute and 14 seconds. Elise, you were table topics number seven, one and your time was 1 minute and 18 seconds. Kim, no ahs, and your time was 1 minute and 31 seconds. And that is my report.
For the sake of our guest, I want to say that we always time our speeches to make sure that we stay within the allotted time frame. For the prepared speeches today, they were all 5 to 7 minutes. I think Anthony's, yours was expected to be a little shorter because you had told me before it was 2 to 3 minutes. And for our table topics, we shoot for 1 to 2 minutes for a response. All right, with that, we'll go to our general evaluation of the meeting. The meeting was started on time. We made sure that the agenda roles were all filled. So that was very good to our benefit. No scrambling during the meeting to fill the roles. I'm very proud and happy that we had 4 prepared speeches today. That's excellent. And I look forward to that type of participation in the future. Our table topics was very interesting, very challenging. I love the visual aid that went along with it.
Yes.
Yep. And I believe that we did a good job with the evaluations because for each evaluator, you noted specific items that were done well and specific tips and helpful hints for the next speech so that the person could improve. The evaluations, just like we evaluate this meeting, is there anything that we could have improved during this meeting? So I'll just open that to the floor. Is there anything we could have improved during this meeting? Any ideas, suggestions? We're always
Yes.
about improvement. Go ahead, Bill.
People arriving by 5:45.
Arriving early so we can have time to have
Take care of the agenda. Yes.
fill the agenda, talk, and
Yes.
yes, that would be really helpful. All right. If there's no other discussion for the meeting, then we're going to go into the comments, questions, and planning for future meetings. So we always invite our guests to give their comments on what they observed, what they saw, what they liked, thoughts, feedback. So is it Jocelyn? Jocelyn, what did you think?
Yes, thank you, Karen. Thank you for welcoming me to the meeting today. I thought that it was very well run. The topic that was discussed, I thought was very interesting. I didn't feel as comfortable the first time participating, but I definitely see a benefit in the future. So I'd like to continue to come, maybe come again and see what I can do. Yeah. So thank you.
And how did you hear about this meeting? Were you invited by somebody or did you find us online?
I actually found you online.
Okay.
So a little bit about my background. I am in sales and I've been in sales for quite some time. I've had to do presentations like one-on-one, but getting in front of a group, even with my long experience, I still feel that nervousness. And I feel like I need to be able to speak a little bit more eloquently and confidently on the topics that I know about. So I just wanted to, as a form of personal development for myself, I just looked for a group that was close to my area that I may be able to just visit and see if it will be a fit to join.
Great.
We'd love to have, we're glad that you came and found us today. We'd love to have you as a member in the future. And please come again to visit. You're welcome to participate in table topics.
Excellent.
We try every meeting to have sort of a theme of our table topics, and kudos to Bill. He did a great job with the theme today.
Yes.
Excellent. No, I do have a question. The meeting, is it once a week or is it multiple? Like, how often do you meet?
We meet on the second and fourth Tuesday of every month.
Okay.
So sometimes there's 3 weeks when we in between meetings when we have that extra week at the end of the month.
Yes. So unfortunately, I believe the fourth Tuesday I will be out of town for work and not able to participate because I'll be in a different time zone. But I look forward to maybe joining the next second Tuesday.
Oh, that would be wonderful.
Yes.
Beautiful.
Great.
Thank you.
Oh, we look forward to seeing you again.
Thank you. And will the agenda be sent out ahead of time, or how does that work?
We do send the agenda out ahead of time with whatever roles people have signed up for at that time. And if there are any roles that are not filled, then we make sure that they get filled at the beginning of the meeting. I see Bill's prepared. Bill's ready to fill out the agenda for next meeting.
Right. So Reed, do we have your email address?
I did share that with Karen in the chat.
Excellent. So
do you have that, Karen?
Yes, I see it. Yeah.
Okay,
so
wonderful.
This is what comes out. We send this periodically before the meeting, but you see where this is from a common software app from Toastmasters International called Free Toast Host. So our club has an account, and I didn't create this, please. No, I do not have the capability.
You have great
But you can
skills.
see where we have 4 speakers lined up. We have Brittany Hanna, Bill Liverman, Bill Moylan, and Felice Wang next time. And then there's other open positions. So I'll send this out, and then people can sign up with that. And then Karen will forward this on to you, so you'll have that connection meeting venue on top. And likewise, doesn't Jelena, she also sends out like it's the Zoom invite ahead separately from this, so you can be getting that as well. A way to find
Excellent. Thank you.
All right. So do we have any volunteers for we already have the speaking roles pre-filled, so do we have any volunteers for the other roles? Anyone want to take a role as table topics master, evaluator?
I'll do any of the evaluations. I don't want to do take table talk master ever because I need to sharpen that sword.
You'll get there, and it's, you know what, I love being the table topics master. It's fun to come up with the questions.
Yes.
Table topics master Dottie Hamilton.
All right, there we go.
And I will be an evaluator.
All right.
I'll do anything.
Kim, you'll do anything?
Yeah.
Well, then I'll put you down as an evaluator because we have 4 speeches planned for that day. Any other volunteers?
I will. I realize that I'll be speaking the next meeting. However, if there's any other void, I will volunteer for that as needed.
All right. Thank you. That's great. I love the enthusiasm.
Thank you.
All right.
I don't think I'll be able to give a speech. I want to volunteer for Word Master. For now,
Okay.
I think I'll try to join the meeting, but just in case I cannot join.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Thank you. Anthony, you have any particular thing you might like to do next time? Do you want to try being the Toastmaster of the day? Too much? Too much? Okay.
Not yet.
Not yet. Okay. All right. All right. We'll leave the other roles unfilled for now, and we'll fill them up before our next meeting.
Okay, so that just went out. It'll all be in your in baskets, so you can then do whatever you need to do. How's that?
Sounds good. All right. Are there any other announcements?
Yes. Can everyone hear me? Hello?
Yeah.
Oh, yes. I want you to know that I appreciate all of you. I love this club. As you all know, I was out of commission for about 3 months, but I'm 90% recovered. So either way, I feel great. But just a quick question. In terms of the upcoming spring conference, is there any, Karen, Dr. Bill, what, in terms of announcement for that regarding the spring conference on April 25th? Was that?
Oh, I'm sorry, what was the question?
The upcoming Toastmasters spring conference. Was there going to be an announcement about that tonight?
Oh, that was earlier in the meeting. We do have the spring conference coming up, April 25th and 26th. And several of us have signed up to go for the full conference. And I think there might be some people who have signed up for partial too. So I think, let's see, I think myself, Dottie, Dr. Bill Moylan, and Jelena are all going for the full day.
I'll be going. In fact, I'll be one of the speakers on that day, on that Saturday.
Oh, great. Great.
Thanks.
Happy to hear that.
Now, Bill, you better get that presentation evaluated.
I should. Yeah. Oh,
All
yes.
Right. Yep. We'll make sure that you do, you know, with all of us there, somebody is going to evaluate you for sure.
Well, I am speaking this Friday at a project management conference at Suburban Collection Showplace. And there is a common one. It's a level 5 elective, but it's presenting at a conference, you know, so that's always a common one you can get done. And even if you're not at a path level yet that has that, don't worry. Everyone has access to all the evaluation forms. Pick it off, and you can always hang on to it because they don't go stale. Just get the presentation evaluated with it.
Good point.
On that. And sometimes I know, like Anthony, you said you gave him up work. I think many of us do. What you can do as well is use it to saying, I want you to really look at my vocal variety, or I'm going to be moving a lot. I need to get the gestures right. Focus on that piece. So you could do like a 45-minute presentation, but tell the evaluator, carve this 5 to 7 minutes out, see how that works on that with it. But I do not give any free speeches. You see, like I told PMI, Project Management Institute, and they requested that I present. I said, okay. I said, you know, I know there's colleagues of mine in the PMI Great Lakes chapter that are Toastmasters, you know, if I could get them to evaluate. But so you have the choice. You can either make sure you got evaluators there, or my fee is $1,500. So, you know, to take your point. Take your pick. They're going, what? I said, you know, that's what it's worth to me. You know, so, and they said, don't worry, we'll make sure Paul's there. So, but it is an important part of it.
Okay, our next meeting will be on April 22nd.
Yes.
So look to the website for the agenda, sign up or confirm your participation there. If you ever have any questions, or if you think you might want a 6-month mentor, you know who to call. All right, Kimberly, what is your question or comment?
Oh, I just wanted to recognize the word of the day used today. Dottie used the word of the day, and you, Karen, you used the word of the day. And I think Dr. Bill Moylan, you might have set a new record. You used the word of the day like 5 times.
Well, remember last time when Sheila had onomatopoeia?
Oh, yeah.
Well, many years ago, I had to do it was a reading from The Prophet by Khalil Gibran. And it was a 15-minute presentation. And I didn't know this was going to be the word of the day. But like everything I was reading, because of his tremendous writing, it was the sounds right after another. And I counted them, and I had 47 uses of onomatopoeia in that 15-minute reading. So
Wow.
that's my record. I'm still working to beat that. So
Wow.
I didn't beat it tonight, but I did have a few. So
Wow,
Beautiful.
That's great. All right, I will call this meeting a success. And again, if there's any questions, concerns, ideas, feel free to contact the leadership of the club. And with that, I will call this meeting to a close and wish you all a good night.
Meeting adjourned.
Meeting adjourned. Yeah.
Man.
Oh, let's turn off the recording.